Hey guys, how's it going? It's Alexander Williamson here with the secret history living inside your aquarium. Today we're going to be talking about something a little bit different. Let me adjust this. We're going to be talking about something a little different. We're going to be talking about me, but also the hobby and some of the fascinating stuff I've learned along the way. But essentially, this all boils down to 1 year ago today, I was struck by lightning. Well, it was late in the evening, or whether you want to say it was early today or yesterday, it's questionable. I don't know the exact time, but I was struck by lightning standing out on my deck right out here late at night, looking out at the city and just kind of pondering, what was going on. I could see the clouds looked ominous because of the light pollution reflecting off these big, tall clouds. And right out here, uh, hello guys, as you trickle in, as this is a live stream. If you have questions, feel free to ask them. But I kind of want to just reflect on the year, say thank you guys so incredibly much for supporting me, be it through the channel, through the GoFundMe that was set up a year ago. I've had $30,000 in medical bills, and you guys came up with something like $6,000, and honestly, that paid for all my emergency needs that month, basically. Since then, I've had 19 root canals. I've had my palate stapled back together up here behind this tooth, which is fake. And I'm still working on getting teeth replaced, my jaw fixed. Jaw's fixed now. All these missing teeth here, I need to get dentures for, basically. Same with up in here, I'm missing teeth. Back here, I'm missing teeth. And they've put fake posts in so they can anchor in, hopefully look fairly normal. But that's a whole other road to go down. What I want to say, though, is that this hobby of fish keeping and this community really saved my life. Um, you guys, whether it's through distraction or relaxation with my own fish tanks, when I was struck, I had no idea what was going to happen. When I was struck, I was standing right out here on my porch and looking out at the city, and all of a sudden these trees here started to arc purple and blue light, just little teeny little wisps that I could barely perceive when I was leaning out on that railing. And all of a sudden, my hair stood up on end on my arms, and bam, uh, it sounded like a crack, or more of in the movies, the stereotypical in a war movie where everything's just humming, buzzing. I didn't really hear the thunder, which apparently was instantaneous. And that threw me back through these doors, broke this door here. Sorry guys about the lighting. But it broke. It broke these doors here. They were not locked or anything, but they were closed, and this middle strip was ripped out. You can still kind of see where the molding got ripped off, and I just haven't fixed it yet. But then I came through and landed on this table. So I was thrown a good, probably 10 feet, I would say. You can still see out here, I never fixed it or anything, but the nails, even on the nails of the wood, melted and corroded as if they were ancient, and now they've kind of gathered grime on them and everything. But I found it interesting that the wood itself actually kind of splintered and burned in weird, odd ways. I was leaning on this corner, and this is all sheet metal. So the sheet metal, the fact that I'm the highest floor in the building, I'm up fairly high up here, and the open expanse plus the power lines on either side of the building. I don't know if that channeled the electricity down to me or if it was a direct hit and just really dumb, weird luck that it hit this big old conductor of a building. But my friends, who one of which is an electrician, was saying that this all the metal surrounding me here probably actually saved me somewhat in redirecting the electricity. That being said, I was struck, and after I was struck, I couldn't see. My eyes had been burned, my corneas were burned, and I crawled to the top of the stairs where my wife had been running up the stairs at the same time. So I was only out for a very short time. I thought that I hadn't been hit that hard. I knew I had some teeth that I spit out that were loose. Hey guys, hey Henner's Life and Oddball Aquatics, K Holiday, giveaway master Shelby Ray and Langan. How's it going? Goose Not Maverick. Hey guys. So yeah, so the initial damage I thought was just some burns on my arm and leg, and bloody nose, bloody lip, and a few missing teeth and a bump on the head. I thought I had escaped everything, and for about, well, so that night I went to bed. After the medics came, the aid car came. They told me there was a really long wait at the ER and that they didn't think that I got directly hit by lightning. They thought that maybe something near me got hit. They did a EKG travel pack scan on me, said my heart was okay, but they thought I was experiencing mostly anxiety. So they said we can take you to the ER, but it's a 3 or 4 hour wait, and if your vitals are stable, we're going to recommend a specialist in the morning. Probably there's nothing we can really do for you other than watch you. And being that I didn't have the most money at the time, I was freelancing and running the Secret History Living in Your Aquarium. uh, at that point I think I had maybe 2,000 subscribers, something like that. And I'd put a lot of work into the videos, so those old videos, please check them out. Go check them out. I really did a lot of research for them. I want to talk to you guys about that. I want to talk to you guys about lightning and how it affects fish and your lives, and how the world that we know would not exist without lightning. I had no idea about any of this before this journey unfolded, but I'll finish just telling you how my journey unfolded, and why it was so impactful, emotional, weird, you name it. This journey has been very bizarre. So I um, I seem to be doing okay that night. We made plans to go to the doctor, the walk-in clinic the next day at the hospital, the main hospital. And at night, I was so tired and just shaken and everything. You wouldn't think it, but I fell asleep. And I fell asleep. I got up to go to the bathroom, and my wife said, "What's that smell?" And I said, I don't know. I can't smell anything. Like, I busted some teeth out. My like this tooth was knocked right out right away. And I bit down on my teeth and fractured a lot of teeth. So some of them still need to be fixed. But those were the minor problems compared to what we would find out soon. So I got out of bed. She smelled something that she said smelled like sweet burnt something, and it really freaked her out. And so went with me into the bathroom down the hall. We went into the bathroom, and I said, okay, like, I think it's just my leg, like it's burnt. I know we need to go check it out. And she said, I think we need to go right now. At 4 a.m. or whatever it was by that point. But my pants that were pajama pants or house sweatpants type things, the acrylic fabric had melted into my skin in the back of my leg. And at the time I said to the doctor, like, why did I not know that? Like, I went hours without knowing that. What happened? And you'll hear soon too the other injuries. It actually burned out all my sinus. Luckily, it stopped before hitting the optic nerve. I still have a deviated septum from it, and then I've got just I have allergies and congestion, anyways. But since then, there's a lot of damage. My nose is actually, if you go back and look at other videos, my nose now is slightly crooked and sunken. I mean, it's no big deal. I don't. It's something that you only notice if you look very closely. But there's a big bump on this side and a lower bump on this side. Any case, I hadn't been worrying about it at the time. I just thought, wow, I'm really lucky. That was a close call. I almost got hit by lightning or whatever. It was really hot and nearby. Well, I didn't feel those things because lightning is so hot, so fast. It can be up to 50,000 degrees Fahrenheit, hotter than the surface of the sun. And it fuses or cauterizes your nerves. So it literally, when it charred, the heat from the air just around it, when it hit my mouth and hand, because I was on the railing, um, it it entered probably through my hand and mouth, and it exited through the back of my legs. Is what they think. And so I didn't know how bad it was until the following day. They did an MRI because of the bump on my head, and it turned out that I had fractured my skull here, and that I had fractured my jaw back up in here, and none of it had really, I don't know, none of it seemed real. And I thought, wow, I'm not really hurting that bad or anything. And I kind of went about life kind of normally. I mean, I had all these appointments set up. And then within a week, I started to lose my ability to speak properly. And I started to get tremors, and I dropped, and I had several seizures. And that's when I knew this isn't good. There's going to be more serious consequences than some teeth and burns. When all was said and done, I had a severe injury to the back of my head and also to the front of my head, swelling on the brain. And with lightning, the way it affects you is very odd in that it affects everyone differently, but you have these things called myelin sheaths around your nerves. So do fish, so do all living complex creatures, animals. And these myelin sheaths protect your nerve so that your potassium and ion sensing chemical reactions and electrical signals of ions can fire, so the nerve knows what the signal's doing, or so that the signal can be sent and say that hurts or that feels good or whatever. There's different nerves and different things for that and different signals. Well, what happened is it's basically the insulation on those pathways melted because it can do that apparently when it gets heated up quickly. And so they were worried that my brain may have gotten cooked too in some area. But thank God it didn't. It was such a quick thing, and for some reason it's common with lightning strikes that the myelin sheaths demyelinate. And that means that then the signals being sent along the nerve pathways just get lost. And that a lot of those connections have to remyelinize or myelinate the pathways, which when you're young, that can take 2 weeks. As you get older, that can take never. I mean, it can sometimes never heal. So we really didn't know what to do. Yeah, so I have videos in the past if you want to go see that around the time that it happened. There's some videos I did up in Canada, which were a couple weeks after the strike. I really actually did better write in the first week or and a half than I did for the next few months. After that, I had to learn to write and I couldn't use. I'm an artist as a living for a living. You know, I do graphic design, I do painting, I do illustration for botanical journals or mycology papers, whatever I can do, whatever I can get my hands on, and murals and things. And I all of a sudden last year, around 11 months ago, had no ability to even write my name, is how bad my coordination was. I could want to do it and I just couldn't. My words, I would lose them. I was stuttering. I would sleep for 12 to 18 hours in a day, and I would get up, and if I live streamed, I would live stream for an hour, or I'd do a video for 15 minutes, and afterwards I'd basically collapse. I didn't know if I was going to be able to do the channel, but you guys supported me. You guys embraced me, and now that I've gotten through that, this hobby means so much more to me. My wife and I are closer. It's been hard. She didn't know how to take care of someone going through this. But I have to say, as an artist, as somebody who has fought really hard to not have a 9 to 5 job, so to speak, to have a job where I have to constantly pound the pavement and find work and then have the physical and mental ability to create what's in the mind of other people. And here I was, I couldn't even use my right hand to write my name. And I thought all of a sudden, my wife and I had wanted to have kids. We'd had a close call a year earlier, and there was we had a miscarriage, but we had hoped to have kids, and we still do. But it'd been a rough year already. We'd lost some family members and things like that. And so just know that it was hard already. And so I really mentally, I couldn't speak, but I could absorb information. So the fish tanks were one of the least frustrating things in my life. You know, I actually started, I added fish tanks to my life because I could move. I had enough coordination where I could, you know, take a plant and put it in a different spot. And I went through rehab, like a vocational and what all sorts of different physical therapy. Sorry, guys. I still have problems remembering things like quickly sometimes, stuttering, repeating myself, getting lost in my own sentence, and yeah, Shelby said, I remember you trying to live stream and breaking out in cold sweats, losing your words, just spacing out and needing to crash. Um, yeah, so totally, Shelby. And it's people like you that have stuck with the channel, stuck with through that, that makes me want to do even better when I'm working on projects, you know? And these tanks and these little shrimp and fish, this was my world. I was not able to drive because of the seizures and because of my coordination. I was I was really stuck at home, really alone, really, really depressed, and I thought that I had lost what made me me. You know, I thought that I had lost that those abilities, and something about fish. I just kept the fish going. You know, I also maybe most. I don't know how I neglected to mention it right off the bat, but maybe most significantly is I broke my back. I broke my L5 and S1 vertebrae, and also, in the words of the radiologist and the neurologist, obliterated the disc in between, as well as impinged my actual spinal column, spinal cord. So I impinged my. So still, I'm struggling with that. And literally Friday, I have another doctor's appointment talking about surgery because there's still a chance that I might lose the ability to walk, because just moving wrong, or just the wrong amount of pressure, or another small injury. And they said that I have zero point 0.5 millimeters of clearance, as it is when I'm not having inflammation. I also have lupus, as you guys might know, an autoimmune disease, and I get inflammation. So sorry guys if it's buffering. I'm reading your comments, but I lost when I lost the ability to write and lost the ability. I used to be able to draw things. I had a photographic memory. I don't anymore. I would say my memory's coming back, but it wiped out whole chunks of my life. The strike. And when your cells in your brain are relearning after that trauma, maybe usually it just went from A to B and it just the signal. But now the signal may have to go from A to C to B just to get, instead of A to B. So your brain is awesome and it rewires. Um, and yeah, so it was very. Yeah, sorry guys. Sorry, it's hard for me to talk about a year later still. Just thinking about it, I think about all the different things that were going on. So I began to teach myself how to write with my left hand. My left hand had better coordination at that point, and basically when I taught myself by 5 months in how to write with my left hand. It was hard. I spent 4 or 5 hours a day, off and on, because I get very tired very easily. But I would spend time doing that, and I eventually got writing with my left hand down, and drawing simple shapes and things, working on the computer, obviously posting videos again. But chemically in my brain, it was very altered, and I was experiencing very intense. I would get overwhelmed by all the things going on. If I was in a room full of people, my ability to multitask, awful. So those are still things I'm working on. As if I get tired, even if I've been awake for 4 to 5 hours, I start to lose those abilities. So yeah. Um, Now it's very bizarre. So one day I literally answered the phone. I was having a doctor's appointment. At one point I had 12 doctors. Once they realized what an odd thing this was and how it was impacting my brain, of course the local university wanted to know how much they could poke and prod at me, and if it was free appointments or no $50 copay, $40 copays all the time. I said okay. And literally one day the phone rang and I picked up a pen with my right hand, just like I had for 30 years before, and I wrote down a phone number and I was able to write perfectly with it. Ever since that moment, my ability to write with my right hand's been back. So some of this is like not just don't question why, like I don't know. And some of it like I'll heal, and then an ability or an issue will correct itself and then it'll get worse. Currently, I can't feel my legs very well. It feels like they're asleep all the time, and that's the sciatic nerve being pinched uh, on both legs. If you've had sciatic problems, you probably know that doesn't feel so hot. Also, the lupus thing, I mean, I try not to whine about the lupus. If you've seen my skin before, some videos when my skin's all peeling off and stuff, that's, it's inflammation. It's whatever. I don't have the type that's in your organs, so yes. But it gave me so much time to reflect, a lot of time home alone, not working, not able to work. I mean, I couldn't hold a thought or accomplish a lot of tasks. And this channel gave me that work, like that structure, that it was a flexible structure, but it had me working again. It had me working on something, working towards something, looking up answers to things I didn't know when people would ask. And then most of all, there's something so, your fish tank, it asks nothing of you inherently. It's just it's there. You can put as much as you want into it, or you can put as little as you want. Now, if you put too little, obviously things die. But with my tanks being so planted, as long as there was water in them, I didn't even have to do water changes, and most of them were fine. Um, and so I actually got very close to my tanks. So let's go downstairs. I hope I don't lose you, but I want to show you the big tank downstairs. So the thing about, someone asked about a chiropractor, I would have loved to done that, or do that, but I literally have such a warning from the doctors that I have. I mean, they say don't do inner tubing or skiing, or don't jump off a diving board. I mean, you name it. Like, I cannot do any jolting activities because it is hanging by a thread. When the disc, so a disc is like a water balloon with jello inside, and the outside's like this thin case. And usually, when you herniate a disc, that jello has broken through that case. The case is ripped and it's kind of hanging out. What happened to me is that heat went through and it imploded basically. So disc gone, spine fell. Parts of the spine were spider web cracked. If you look at the X-rays and stuff like that, and I posted all those in videos because, to all of you who supported me and were helpful, I also did hear people saying, like, you're just trying to get attention, yada yada. So I don't know why I felt like I had to prove myself, but I decided to post all my medical stuff and all the photos, links. The local news station in Seattle covered my story. So I posted that stuff, but you guys came forward with super chats, with somebody set up a GoFundMe for me, and like I said, I've spent about 30 grand now to get where I'm at. It's not quite over, but that initial shock of it, before we could organize like how to pay for things and put on hold our plans to buy a house or do anything like that, um, you guys saved me, and that was huge. But the next hurdle was, once the excitement and the and I don't know. It's exciting when you get hurt sometimes. Like when it's something kind of epic like that, it's a story to tell. But I got tired of telling the story, and I got frustrated with the ways I'd changed, and that I felt like I was not myself. I still feel that way. I still feel like somebody swapped out my personality. Um, Somebody swapped out my personality, and it's a challenge. So you guys are a sounding board. You guys are an escape. I like researching. So I want to address something else really quickly. And I know this isn't a super fishy video. So if you're hanging with me, it's because you're interested in the channel, me as a creator, a human interaction and experience between you and I, all of us. And that's what I love about this channel, the what I've built, what you guys have helped me build, and the community, the Facebook group that Betsy has helped moderate and administer, be an administrator. Uh, and you guys are friends. So there's people, plenty of you that I haven't met that I've talked to at 2 in the morning that, you guys have problems. I have problems. They're not always fish related. A lot of times they are, and it's just a distraction that's great when I can't sleep or something or when I'm in pain. But when it comes down to it, it's human problems, it's self-doubt. It's, did I do that right in the aquarium? Did I screw up with the fish I chose? Am I taking care of these plants right? What light do I need? There's a lot of your personality manifests into how you take care of your aquarium, and the questions you have while you're learning. It's an interesting way to get to know someone through any hobby. But an aquarium, you really get to see compassion in a lot of cases, because you're caring for living things. The stakes feel a little bit higher than when you're putting a model together. And yes, there's all the time you've invested, the money, and so forth, the skill, the learning, the knowledge. But if you break it in the hobby of fish keeping, you killed something, something died, and that's hard. And so when if you're somebody who is emotional about that, that tells me, how much you invested. Kay Holiday, are there any more Florida videos coming? Yes, so that brings me to my next the thing I wanted to talk to you guys about, actually. So if you stuck around until the middle, you're gonna get to hear this, and it means you're somebody who watches this channel pretty attentively or frequently, or watch the videos all the way through. Don't just flip through for 30 seconds. So this is for you guys. You guys are the ones. I like everybody, but you guys are really the foundation of this channel. So I have still about a dozen videos from Florida, from going to the Seagrass, getting a tour there of the biggest fish wholesaler in the country, of the science lab that we went to, of cichlids, and once they make an announcement of new fish that they're breeding in captivity, it's incredible. Nobody has bred some of these saltwater fish that they are breeding in Florida, and they've done it now. They just are waiting for certain. So the first generation they bred has to have babies, and those babies have to have babies to confirm that everything's viable genetically and everything. And so they're waiting on that to have happened twice and not just once, as a fluke or whatever. Actually, it might be three times, even with science, science being sure of itself until it's not. But yeah, so those videos are waiting. The reason I stopped rolling them out, actually, is because for some reason the ones that I actually edited and things, maybe I just suck at editing. That could be part of it too. But they got like 400 views. And then I do a top 10 list of my favorite nano fish, which I love nano fish, but that's not really this channel's heart and soul. And it has 20,000 views, and I posted it last week. So I'm really torn on this channel because I want to bring new people in. Obviously I would love for this to help pay more bills and things like that. I had a video very recently where I said I sat down and I showed you exactly the money I make, how the videos work. Ironically, right after that, one of the videos went super viral for my channel. It got not necessarily a ton of views, but when I looked at the time, since it was a half-hour long video, and the average person was watching like 20 minutes of a 30-minute video, which is insane. So that's awesome. I'm happy about that. But a lot of you probably think that that's kind of fluff, or that's the same thing that's going on. Yeah, Shelby, totally. So it's F2 generation needs to have an F3 for them to confirm, like, all right, everybody's genetics, like, down the line, they're going to be reproductive. We're good to go. I mean, they know that they are, but they just want to make sure. They just, it's been several years. They've known this for 3 years now. Interesting. So in any case, All right, Kay, I appreciate that sentiment. She said, "Don't edit it. We watch the channel for because you show the highs and lows of fish keeping in life." Yeah, I mean that's the whole thing. Is this is more of a vlog channel, in that this is it. This is my life. This I screw up. I f up things all the time. I learn a lot of things a lot of the time. I learn things from you guys, and I want to share it. Like this is a journey, and I try to share it with you guys. The the bummer is that the videos sometimes that I feel have the least amount of research going into them, they're just opinions of mine. They're just top 10 or top 5 lists. They do so much better than some of the denser videos. So part of it is maybe I need to deliver that denser information in a better way, like SciShow or Veritasium or Smarter Every Day. You know, like the guys who do that on other channels that are unrelated to fish. That takes more editing and skill that I need to learn. But maybe that's it. You know, maybe that would help some people. However, like the next video I want to make, and I have literally been researching it for a week now. I may make it today. I mean, I've been ready to make it. I've done several run throughs. Is on chlorination. So as I said, I've got lots of videos waiting to come out. I also have the giveaway from Aquatic Arts to officially launch the full list of everything, the rules and everything. Um, and So that's coming out soon. I think they're gonna send me some. I haven't ever checked out their Caridina shrimp, so I think they're sending me some Caridina shrimp, hopefully, and I can check those out. I've seen their Neocaridinas are great. I've seen all the algae shrimp. You see them in this tank. There's 3 species. Awesome. I mean, I love their stuff. They're the angelfish, which downstairs I've got some baby angelfish I'm raising up now and everything. I I love Aquatic Arts. They're good people, yada yada. So, I have giveaways. So, it looks like I have 10, I think it is. I'll have to double check, so don't hold me to this, but 10 or 15 free shippings to give away to anybody. And then, so that's free shipping from Aquatic Arts. I have a $100 gift certificate, a $150 ish gift certificate, or you can get more money in actual product of shrimp food, 20 shrimp, blah, blah, blah. Betsy, thank you. So somebody just said, what about, you thought about buying a 6 foot tank, and then Betsy said, they don't even have a room that big. So, yeah, that's funny. No, I've got, my house is okay size. Uh, Joel Corvus, Osen, I can never say his name. Joel Christensen, has the same issues. If he would tailor things to fit the YouTube mold, it would equal more subs, but then you lose your individuality, and that's what makes it your channel. Totally. And that's why usually I'm not doing these videos where it's just my face. Like I like to, even if it's just, hey guys, chill out, watch one of my tanks while I tell you about this story about something else, and I may not even have pictures of that something else. But my whole point was that right here, I have all this research I've done all the way back, and tell me if this sounds interesting. But basically, I've done this research. I think this will be probably a 20 to 30 minute video, which sounds absurd, but it's about chlorination. So it's about why we chlorinate, how they invented chlorine gas, how World War One, so Victorian era, people keeping goldfish in their house, houses not chlorinated, wells were common, municipal water had lead and all sorts of other awful things in it. They end up having typhoid and all sorts of other problems. So then and you couldn't keep your fish with water from the city. You had to take care of the water in other ways or get it from a natural source to have your fish survive. So Then they come up with chlorine gas, and they infuse that into water in this process where they take the gas and they push the water through a chamber that atomizes it, breaks it up, that is. It mist turns it into a mist, recondenses it, and then you've got the chlorine, later to be chloramine, in the water supply. That's in the turn of the century. Well, it turns out that they also brought goldfish to World War I, and some of the nut mustard gas or other, there are a lot of terrible gases and things used, but they actually kept goldfish in boxes at the bottom of trenches, so down at the bottom where the gas would sink to, because goldfish are fish in general are so sensitive to chlorine, ammonia, and other things like copper, heavy metals, that there's pictures of old and illustrations of goldfish in the trenches as kind of mascots and stuff, but also honestly just to be a canary in a coal mine. They also use birds too, but fish were right on the front lines of World War I. So after that, they actually use fish to determine the safe amount of chlorine. They figured if fish can survive it, that's fine. Municipal chlorine becomes popular. At this point, there was still not a product in the aquarium hobby designed specifically for that. So then it goes into World War II. They're able to sanitize water, get rid of things. They learn about like UV treatment, these bags that they treat things with. And then later on, they figure out they'd known it all along. There's about 30 things that can dechlorinate water, but dechlorinate it safely so that it breaks down into salt, water, sulfur, oxygen, and carbon. That's the key. So in any case, there's a bunch of chemical stuff here. But then chloramine has side effects. It breaks down into stuff that actually causes liver damage. So we have that in our water. It's just in low enough amounts that we deem it safer. But in any case, I have all the patent history about the guy who comes up with dechlorination, his name, all the companies that use the exact same patent and they just tweak one thing, and they're actually paying this guy from Corden originally. This guy came up with Amquel, and it wasn't until 1980 that that happened. But in any case, now they're coming up with all these new things like that actually treat the other aspects of it. And then I get into the pitfalls, the fact that your aquarium will test positive, or I mean, it positively, so it'll show up that you have no nitrates or nitrites after you've used a bunch of prime or dechlorinated, but it's still there. It's just the bacteria needs to eat it and break it down. Anyways, I know I'm off track here, but yeah, that's the next video. I know that won't go viral, but yeah, I just thought that would be interesting. Oh, Shelby, you found the video with the goldfish in the trenches? Yes. War is very fascinating. It's very sad, but yes. First time to catch a live stream. I appreciate that, James Woodward. So yeah, I mean that's the kind of video that's super nerdy. The whole idea of this channel was to be in your fishbowl, your fish tank, looking out at the world and all the products, things, inventions, humanity, species that come from around the world and have these crazy invention stories, and they overlap with the hobby back in the past in weird and wonderful ways. And I mean that was the idea behind the channel in the first place. So talking about like why pufferfish are hard to find right now. Well, because the Congo is in a terrible state of war, or the fact that the Bangladeshi puffers and Myanmar, they're very unstable right now, very corrupt. Um, so looking at social problems and, the 20% tariff coming out of China, which you'll see, if not already, but especially later, you'll see certain products in the hobby go up 20% because a lot of our stuff's made in China. Luckily, our glass tanks and stuff aren't. But, those are the things I like talking about on the channel. I feel like making the videos that I know will get more traction is worth it, in that hopefully it exposes my channel to people and they can look through my other videos and decide if it's right for them. That's why I want to do it. It's not that I want just everybody in the hobby in on the channel or want to make money. But yeah, that's the thinking behind it. But that's something that's got at me because when I was accused of using the lightning as a ploy to get viewers, which didn't work, if that was the thought, you can go to what's it called? Socialblade.com and look at my history, and I didn't gain a bunch of followers. I gained a bunch of followers actually when I did a fish room tour of Bentley Pasco's rainbow fish collection. Nobody had toured his house at that point, and soon after Joel and I think the Aquarius podcast and a whole bunch of people on YouTube now have gone to his house. Same with when I did a discus tour, also some shrimp videos I put up. But yeah, no, the lightning didn't help me at all, guys. People don't watch a fish video to hear about lightning unless they already like the channel, right? I mean, that's why you guys are here, I assume, to learn about the guy who makes the stuff on the channel. I'm not a private guy if you haven't gathered. I have to say, though, that at the worst of it, if it weren't for me knowing that my wife and my mother would be so devastated that I wasn't here, I didn't want to live anymore. I felt like I wasn't myself. I felt like I was never going to get back to myself. All the money that I was costing everybody, I was ruining all of our savings are gone. And here I am making fish videos and trying to tell my wife, no, this is good for me. This is a job. I need to stick with it. And she's really feeling like, man, just bag groceries or do something like that. Anything. And I got a job at a fish shop for a little while. I've been doing consultation. So now too, if you need help with something that's going to be really involved, like you want me to help plan out your scape or do a consultation on what's going on with the algae and things like that, or what fish you want to put up, um, I I'm happy to do that. I usually do it for about $50 for an hour or two of really intense, like, let's plan this out, we'll stock it out, and then ongoing support, that kind of thing. And I've been doing it for a few people. So that's another great way to like bring in money for the channel. Also, the affiliate links, because I'm going to be frank with you guys. I want this channel to be my main source of income. That's the goal this year, in the next year, starting now, is I would like to be able to be making what I would make working 50 hours a week, getting minimum wage. That's where I'd like to be. Now it's like 4 or 5 times where I'm at from now. But I think we can do it. And I don't want to compromise what the channel is for it. So it's really down to people like you guys that are yeah, that are loyal and just asking questions and giving advice and helping each other too. If we can be a group on Facebook and a group here in the comments, you guys are some of the most civil viewers. I have a few people that will say something dumb or racist or just, trolly, but for the most part, everybody's just positive and helpful, and I don't see that on every fish channel. I see a lot of arguing and squabbling and people calling other people like, oh, you're so dumb, that's not how it works. It's like things work differently for everyone in this hobby, okay? There's science that's science, and that can help you, and you can use it in a certain way. But there's also just, several ways to skin a banana. Let's go with banana. That sounds less gruesome. Hey, Crystal, how's it going? So we're going to go downstairs in a minute. I might lose you guys. But you're not lost. You're not forgotten. It's just my stupid internet that I'm fighting with. We only have like 2 internet providers in town, and I've tried them both now, Comcast or Frontier. And I live less than a mile from all the Amazon bees. Sorry, I know not everyone who works at Amazon is a troll of a human being. But yeah, there's a lot of people who use a lot of, who are very tech oriented in this neighborhood. and it's a very dense neighborhood. There's a lot of apartments, townhouses. Like in my building, there's 3 units, and my wife and I used to have 2 other people living with us in a 2 bedroom. So the neighbors have 6 people living in a 2 bedroom. The downstairs neighbor have a studio with 3 people living in it. So it's just, this city is so expensive. People pack in really tight in the core of it. Um, so downstairs, I was told that I was going to have 3 to 5 surgeries on my spine, and that this room was set up for that. So the reason I did this whole room the way it is, I had all this stuff, but I bought this tank in the middle of being broke and having medical bills. And everyone said, what a waste of money. But I can tell you, this made me so happy, calm, such a better uh, husband, individual to deal with, that, I just, having, when I had to be in bed for like a month straight, and I'm not kidding, they said to keep my spine flat, so I didn't even get a pillow. I got like a neck brace, and I would be laying down for 18 to 20 hours a day right here. And I couldn't watch screens and TV most of the day because it gave me terrible migraines, and also my brain was still so slow for a long while that actually I could see the load, um, the resolution time. So when you have a digital camera, digital media, things load by scanning like this, and I can actually see that. All right. So I'm probably going to lose you guys down here. I'll have to record the videos down here, but what I wanted to show you was some of the things that keep me going, that kept me going. So I've got these wonderful yellow shrimp. Look at this. I hadn't seen this. This is crazy. These babies have been hiding until just now, today, literally. This is the first time I've seen them all. Yes. So there's all these babies hanging out right here of new shrimp, of Babalti shrimp, and of Neocaridina shrimp. We've got new pregnancies. The other thing is that I put angelfish in here. So I did put, is that, no. And I don't see them. I'm hoping that they're still young. They're only 6, 7 days old. So I'm hoping they're down in like their wriggler stage somewhere hiding. I've seen 1 or 2 last night. But I can see more and more of these baby shrimp have just exploded. I cleaned out some of the mulm in the tank, but you can see all the glass I left in here and everything. It's all covered in biofilm, and all these baby shrimp are just chowing down on it, and it's just great. I sold 100 of them, and it looks like I will be having another few hundred coming out soon. These guys are going to get bigger and meaner soon, so I got to figure out what I'm going to do with them. Obviously, this is a low-tech tank here. Bizarre. I just wanted to make the weirdest combo I could. I've got white cloud minnows. I've got axelrodi, blue rasboras. I've got endlers. I've got convict cichlids. I've got friggin' pea puffers, and ruby tetras, and there are even, where are they? Corridoras and shrimp with pea puffers. These shrimp are my best. They breed the quickest. So I tried them out, and they've been keeping up. I built this whole network for them to kind of hide their babies under, and it seems to be working well. And then down here, I got rid of a lot of my big parental plecos. I don't know where they're hiding right now. They're usually over at the end somewhere. But in any case, we've got corridoras, we've got plecos. Oh, he's right here. Hey, buddy. Are you okay? God, the plecos always scare me that they're not doing well, but they're always fine in the end. And we've just got a whole tank full of plecos and all sorts of stuff. It's just, these tanks are so crazy loaded that people say, like, you can't have a tank like that. Well, yeah, you can. You just have to have a ton of plants and lots of surface area and really watch and see how things are doing. And obviously, if anything dies, you get it out of there. But yeah, this stuff. How do you pack your fish and shrimp for sending through the mail? I haven't picked up the courage to try it yet. Okay, yeah, I don't necessarily do that very often. Shrimp, they are very robust, especially Neocaridina. I will ship them through the mail often, or I mean, occasionally. As for other stuff, I really don't like shipping fish in the mail, just because I've killed a lot. Um, I don't know if that's normal, that, one in every 15 or something goes wrong. But it's disheartening to me. I end up taking a hit. I have to go to the post office here, which is, the post office in this city is nuts. I always spend 45 minutes to an hour and a half at the post office waiting in line, dealing with stuff. Like, this area has just grown so fast. Like, we need to move, basically. My wife loves the area. I grew up here, and I don't even recognize it, really. But in any case, like, I do love it, though, when people send me random goodies and things like that, and I do trade stuff once in a while like that. It's just, I don't like selling fish unless it's like some endlers or something, and then I will. But usually I put them in a breather bag. This time of year I don't put a heat pack in because it can get too hot, but I just put them in a styrofoam box, pack around the styrofoam, and tape it all up airtight and send it off, basically. But in the winter I'll put a heat pack on the, either in the bottom of the box, and then put like a lot of newspaper in between it, and then the bag, and then more stuff, and then maybe a heat pack on the top if it's real cold. But it kind of depends on the weather. This time of year, you could probably send Neocaridina shrimp most places in the country without any sort of insulation, honestly. It's just, you don't want them to get shaken around a ton. But I think that's kind of interesting that Neocaridinas are a lot tougher than people think. So yeah, but I've got those things going on. This is now done. The baby angelfish incubator. There's also some baby angelfish in here. This tank clearly has become completely overgrown. I have not had the CO2, which is a giant tank. I should have it on. But some of the things, this is 6 months old now. The Rotala Pearl Mini Type 2 or 3 grows so friggin' slow. I got this from Han, and like, I don't even know how he grew it to that point. Like, it's just so slow. Also, the koi Nemo Bettas from Aquatic Arts. Love them. I really want to find a female. These are both males, the one upstairs and then this one. This one's not as pretty, in my opinion, as the one upstairs, but still cool, still pretty. Beautiful blue eyes on one side, and then on the other side he's got like brown eyes. Also, I've got a lot of these like kind of fingerling size plecos. Still a number of species of danios and pseudomagills. Pseudomagills are really beautiful right now. They're kind of all yellow and orange. The hatchet danios look like little salmon. These are the Maytangensis danios here, and the pantheri. Pantheri have the dots and the stripes, but they all have this like beautiful bronze and purple contrast. And then also, this is a stirby, trilineatus stirby mix of Corridoras. I've got a few of them in there. So they're part stirby Corridora, part trilineatus. And a lot of people get mad when you mix stuff, but they're not going anywhere. I just let them live together, and that's what happened, is they made cute little babies together. But this thing is so dense, I don't see them anymore, so I'm almost thinking about restarting this. Their last count, when I actually like kind of rounded them all up, there were something like 20 Corridoras in here. Like they just appear. When I feed, I'll just be like, oh my goodness, I did not know I had that many of those fish. They just keep multiplying. Like one or two make it every time they spawn, but if they spawn every few weeks, that ends up being a lot. Right here, I actually was just getting algae and junk out of the water earlier before I was streaming, and this tank I've turned the light intensity down quite a bit, and yeah, so gonna plop fizz, take care of some of that hair algae. I've been neglecting the tanks a little bit. I don't know. I mean, it's an anniversary. It's just a normal day. Ironically, today we were supposed to have thunder showers in Seattle, which is less than fun, less than cool. But yeah, so I just wanted to hop on here today, tell you guys that I love you. You guys have value. Whatever you're going through, whatever depression. I mean, I was sitting there. I've been clean and sober from drugs and alcohol, pot and alcohol, and you name it. I've done it when I was younger. But I've been a good boy for 10 years, probably for the most part. I haven't drank in 10 years, and the the accident made it so that I was taking pain medicine, and I was very, very paranoid that I would end up getting hooked or taking too much. But honestly, I was not able to get out of bed without it. So, getting off the pain medicine after being on it for 6 months or a year or whatnot, depending on, some of it wasn't narcotic, but it's still habit forming in the sense that this thing relieves pain and you just go to it, pop it, and then you feel better. Well, you can't do that with your liver and stuff forever. So part of that has been a struggle too. And so it reminds me of my continued dedication for not drinking alcohol. Nothing against you guys. If you love to drink alcohol, go to it. Like, I didn't even quit for like a reason like, oh, I was rampaging out of control. I quit because I wasn't rampaging. I was having a completely normal life and drinking obscene amounts every night of the week. And I had a feeling that nothing was going to stop me other than me. And one day I was just like, I tap out. I'm done with the alcohol. And it's just, I've felt better since I did that. So that's the story with the alcohol. As for a bigger fish tank, is the next goal for the fish room. I want a 90p tank. I want to get a rimless style tank so that I can move the tank that's up here, the one that was all pink plants and stuff right here. Obviously, you can see I've backed off on the ferts and the daily care, because I like to take my tanks, bring them right to the peak of what you can do with the tank, show people what I'm doing to do that, and then I'll back off and just let it be a fish tank. So right now, I mean, this one's starting to grow immersed a bit, and that's fine. I think I'm going to be moving this tank soon. Hopefully, as soon as UNS gets their 90Ps back in production. Right now they're not making them, and so I'm waiting for that. Yes, it is expensive. No, I don't really have the money for it, but because that video, some of my most recent videos did better than I thought, that gave me another $200, which is crazy. Like, that's more money than I was making in 3 months of making videos or something, of all them combined. and all of a sudden in 3 days, one of the videos generated that much. I don't know why. For minutes watched, it just had a ton of, whoever bought the ad spot paid a lot of money for it. So that's kind of interesting. Also, I'll show you in a sec here. I have some little projects in the windowsill. This one's not looking super hot, but it actually sent out shoots all over this thing, and they've come out and bloomed, and they had little white flowers. And that's a Rotala mini butterfly right there. But then this one I just found on the street growing in a crack full of water on the sidewalk. And it has purple dots on its leaves underwater. So I think it's, yeah. Aquatic Arcs would advertise your channel on the website. Yeah, so actually that's in the works. They do want to feature my channel. And also, I'll probably be doing some more beginning how-to videos. Just because I forget that sometimes, lots of new people come and join the channel, and maybe they're not they haven't been in the hobby for years, or they're not, they don't need a hardcore rundown of things. Maybe they just need a refresher on the nitrogen cycle, and I can do it in an interesting way. Another thing I wanted to show you, just because everyone always says it's not possible or don't do it. This thing has been near the window. I temperature check it. It gets as cold as 55 degrees and as hot as 85 degrees. It has had both Neocaridina and Malua or Malawa shrimp in it with tap water. This is how I refill it. Like this. I haven't used any dechlorinator. I'm not saying you should keep your fish like this. This was a plant thing, and I took some coal shrimp that would have been fed to my angelfish or whatever, and put them in here, and they're doing fine. They actually have had babies. So I just kind of wanted to show people that there's no fertilizer or anything in here. It's just, ta-da! There's no air pump. There's nothing. It's just about 1.5 gallons to 2 gallons of water and like 15 or 30 shrimp now. They'll limit themselves with the algae. What's interesting though is this stone, which is super porous, has this capillary action where it's actually pulled all of the chlorine salts out of the water. So I was pouring water onto the top of this, and this stone it gets algae very easily. It's very porous. You hear it bubbling, and you can actually see bubbles blow, like, pop off this stone. It's Texas Wonderstone or New Mexico Wonderstone, whatever you want to call it. It's great for getting like little star moss like this to grow just naturally. It'll just find its way up it. But yeah, you can actually see the chlorine salts. Well, they're just salts now. Doing their thing. So yeah. Okay, so see, you liked the acronym video. I know a lot of people didn't, and it was a mouthful, that's for sure. I mentioned a couple things that were slightly off just because I was like, what the heck am I gonna say next, kind of thing. But I felt like there was a lot of information. I went to a Planted Tank forum, and they're like, oh, just make sure that the BB is working well before you do a WC, and your RCSs and BCSs should be doing just fine as long as you give them some GH and KH booster along with a little Bacter AE. And it's like, someone new to the hobby would be like, these people are crazy. I'm stepping backwards out the door. So, I don't know. It was a fast video, but... hopefully someone got a kick out of it. I guess someone did. But yeah, add some outdoor moss to your collection of found plants to grow in water. Soak it for a few days before putting it in the tank and grow. Yeah, I'm always trying to find, I'm always trying to find new, sorry guys, you want to look at my chin, of course. New little mosses. Sometimes they don't take off and they're just a gross mess. Other times they work out great together. This moss is doing just fine there. Downstairs I've got stuff doing well. I was playing and I grafted on. So this same plant like pothos that's growing in here. Uh, it's this plant's a chimera. It's interesting. So it has the variegated leaves with the white on them, but then the same plant is putting out plain leaves that have no white. Interesting. And then the Wandering Jew, yes, that's the name of this plant. Its common name. Doing really well. It's fish water, green water is in there. Um, so yeah, I got a lot of projects going on, a lot of things going on. The biggest thing that helps is just if you guys like, share, watch the videos all the way through. If you feel like gaming the system and just ratcheting things up, go ahead and just listen to just the audio. I'm thinking about doing a podcast. Also, a lot of my art, like just the podcast, would be the audio of things like this, where you don't really need to see some of the things I'm talking about. Also, art for t-shirts. That is in the works. I've got the art done. I just sometimes I drag my feet because I'm afraid it's not going to work or it's going to fail or I'm going to feel embarrassed. That's the honest truth. And I've done all these pieces of art and posters and logos for people like Lucas Bratz and Flip Aquatic, just other people in the hobby on YouTube before I even had any little image on my page. So, uh, oh, Gray One Washington, you want some of my coals? Well, if you're in the Washington area, I sell them for pretty dirt cheap. Um, let's see. I listen to your podcast lots of times. I will listen to work as well. Oh, okay, cool. I hear a lot of people saying they do water changes and just listen to the video, and that's why, like, sometimes I feel like when I add in like badly done graphics and things like that, or photos, some are pertinent and interesting, but a lot of times it's like that didn't really inform us that much. You can just tell me there were goldfish in the trenches of World War I, and it's cool to see, but the amount of time to go find the picture of that's free use, put it in, make it not awkward, and be like, hey, look at this. It's not like terrible or anything. I'm just kind of lazy, and I think that a lot of you are not actually like glued to what the screen's doing anyhow, unless it's a video where I'm showing like, hey, watch these baby fish breeding or baby fish breeding, baby fish hatching, or a shrimp juggling its young, or whatever it may be. Also, I want to hook up the microscope again soon, get that going. And then I want to come up with better Patreon rewards, like actual, like you get a shirt, or every month you can contact me and we can chat about your aquarium for an hour. Is like the $20 level or something. Things like that. And I have people that text me at 1 in the morning, 3 in the morning, and I'll get back to them like, oh my God, I can't find this or that, or this shrimp died, or what do I do? Two of the fish are dying and they have these symptoms. And yeah, if I can help, I'm there, and I keep very odd hours, especially since the lightning strike. Um, but you guys dealing with other people's problems, dealing with fish problems, which are not serious problems usually, unless your like room is leaking or something, uh, has allowed me to not feel like it allows me to focus on something that's fixable, something I can do something about, something I can reap a reward and a good feeling about. And it's so much better than the sitting pacing. I know I'm pacing, but pacing at night, and I just wander, and I just feel like this isn't my home, this isn't my place. I'm not meant to be here anymore. I should have, I don't know. So um the fish tanks are a lot, they're very supportive to me. They calm me down a lot. They ground me. They remind me like, oh yeah, I need to take care of all these little organisms that rely on me and my wife, obviously, way more so than the fish. But when I'm here alone, right now I don't have a 9 to 5. I'm doing freelancing, as I've done a lot of my life, doing tattooing again and so forth. But yeah, So, I know this was a weird live stream, but I thought I'd just kind of touch base with how things are, what happened. If you're new to the channel, maybe you didn't even know that. Go back and watch videos. There are 3 videos I did that talk about how lightning storms fix nitrates. They're one of the few things in nature that's not an organism that, other than stars and things like that, that actually cause nitrates to be created and then allow plants to use them. There's thunderstorms that create water spouts and dust devils that kick up dust in the Sahara Desert that's full of phosphorus, magnesium, zinc, and silica. And it kicks it up into the upper atmosphere. These ginormous thunderstorms then move across the Atlantic. They start to spiral because of the Coriolis effect, which is basically your toilet swirling. No, that's not. That actually is not the right usage of it. But when you look at the globe and you see that hurricanes spin one way below the equator and another the other way, hurricanes, typhoons, whatever you want to call them, um, those actually are carrying all this silicate, phosphorus, magnesium, zinc, nitrites, and they're carrying it across the water. Now, the Amazon doesn't naturally have a mountain range in the Andes that washes enough silt and things down into the river. And it's very poor quality soil naturally because of how hard it is for light to penetrate and everything. But because of the lightning storms, those little particles allow water to condense. So they get this deluge of water from the mountains. They get this very pure, neutral water, and then the leaves in the soil. This is true of the Gulf Coast in Florida too. Then those cause the pH to rise, whereas the phosphates, which are critical for plants to have a metabolism, they don't know how to grow without the regulation of phosphates. I've made videos talking about how lightning actually is crucial. We could not have the rainforest without lightning and thunderstorms and windstorms that kick up these essential nutrients that move all the way across. There is a highway of thousands of tons of soil, dirt, minerals, heavy metals, even in tiny particulate form, cruising across the ocean up in 40 to 100,000 feet, swirling around above your heads, above the oceans, and condensing, being a point of which water collects around, and hail is formed, or rain is formed, and it rains and it replenishes and it brings life. Also, lightning sparks forest fires. Without humans, I mean, where's the forest fire going to come from? Volcanoes, maybe? So, it starts forest fires, which create lots of active, available charcoal, carbon, and that's in the water. It's really an incredible ecosystem. And I wouldn't have ever looked into that if I hadn't been struck by lightning. And so I just want to encourage you guys to look around you, think about the most obscure thing that has nothing to do with fish, and try to trace it back to fish. And if you have something that you want me to try to do that with, like, throw it out there. Like, there will be no connection between pet fish and scuba dive, whatever, the Day of the Dead. We'll figure it out. It's like 6 degrees of separation, 7 degrees of separation. So, thank you guys so much for watching, for chatting. I appreciate it. Today was a little bit woo woo, dry, emotional all at the same time. But the takeaway, please check out my older videos. There's 400 videos now. You guys got us past the 1,000,000 minutes watched in a month mark, which is amazing. And let's just keep doing it, guys. Like, you guys are helping me. You guys are making it so those affiliate links I put up, I'm never going to put up something that I think is less than something I would buy. I'm going to try to get enough money together to probably foolishly buy another aquarium. I want to do an aquascape that's more low ground, so maybe an Iwagumi style scape with lots of nano fish again, like lots, like 2 per gallon of like corridor. No, maybe rasboras and like CPDs and I don't know. We'll talk about it later. And shrimp. So yeah, I just have a lot of plans. I would love a giant rimless tank. Can't afford the shipping on it. I was offered um, a tank for the cost that they build it for, and shipping ended up being like $289, and then the tank was another $280. So in the end, it came out to about $50 less than the store if I'd bought it from that. In any case, if you want to support that stuff, check out my Patreon below. You know, you just give $1 a month or something, and that's like, hey, attaboy, good job. But you know, if you really want to help the channel, help me focus even more of my time and like allow me to show my wife, say, this is a feasible thing to put all my energy into, to put a video out every day kind of thing. uh, I would love that. I'd love to be able to do that for you guys, have somebody help me edit whatever it may be to make this channel the best it can be, make it educational, make it a place where we can connect, share ideas and all that. And you guys rock. I just thank you. I didn't even know if I would be alive um, this time last year for a year. I mean, no one does, but it's just thank you. Just thank you. I don't have enough words for it. Um, Also, to answer Tone Loke, have I thought about working for the state DNR or the Department of Waterways? I have thought about things like that, but I just right now I can't make it through even 6 hours without losing my stamina, losing my ability for my eyes to track. I still get double vision and things like that. So I still is even though I'm not going to live stream if I'm screwed up. There's been a few times when I have, but you know, I don't know everything, and I just feel like I would be a bad employee to be like, I'm ready to do this thing, and then call in sick like a third of the time, or crash by the end of the day most days, or whatever. Be disingenuous. I would hate that as a manager. And if I can find someone who I can be honest with and say, hey, I have these limitations, I'm getting better still, it's just taking time, I would take that in a heartbeat. But for me right now, it's easier to just, if someone needs a logo done for a couple $100, I work through it and come up with a logo for them. If they want their favorite fish illustrated, or if they're doing a paper for a university where they need figures illustrated, or engineering. So I mean, I do lots of technical drawings, and I do lots of art. I used to have a gallery, and I stopped because one year, I'll be frank with you, I made $37,000 after taxes being an artist. And I didn't have any benefits, and I didn't have any retirement. And I thought in my head, wow, I'm making big money now. It's better than if I was working for minimum wage, 40 hours a week, and making artwork. And I was busting my hump doing that, going to every trade show in the tri or quad state area. And, every weekend, a couple things, always hanging like, I'd have my mountain series hanging of all the mountains in the Pacific Northwest hanging in one cafe, and then I'd have my skulls and anatomical biological stuff in another rock and roll venue, a concert venue, and I'd just constantly be hustling that. And I thought, wow, well, this will grow, but then I looked around and I was like, and it's still not enough. In Seattle, they say you need to be making 67,000 minimum to own a house, which is just a crazy thought, especially if you live anywhere else in the country. They say to own a household of two, you should have at least 115,000 coming in. That's nowhere near where my goal is for this channel. Obviously, I just with my wife, she's doing well at work right now. She's kicking butt because she's a brilliant, awesome woman. Um, but if I can make what I would make at a minimum wage job doing this and also still have time to do freelancing graphic design, that could get me into a place where I'd be that would be the dream. So yeah, working for myself is where it's at. Yeah, and I'd like to kind of move to Europe, but I'm just gonna throw that out. Uh, all right, guys. Well, have a wonderful day. Thank you for joining me. If you watched it this far, also there's the usual coupons, links, discounts below. Anything you get that I have linked to, like API test kits, I found a really cheap deal for them online. It was a small company selling on Amazon, and they're selling for like 15 bucks cheaper than at my Petco by my house. So with good ratings. So I threw that in there. Stuff like that. Like I'm trying to, yes, I'll get a kickback from that, but I'm trying to find ways to monetize that are helpful, that are not obnoxious. Um, like um, audio, what's it called? audio, the audiobooks thing. That would be something that I would support, I think that all of that kind of stuff that's learning Curiosity Stream, I wouldn't be opposed to promoting their stuff because I've used it for years. But I'm not going to promote something that I don't believe in, that I don't think is relevant, and I don't think is a good deal for you guys. So just thought I'd show you that. Do any of your links ship to the UK? I don't know, Kate Holiday. You can check it out, and there may be another link that then goes to the UK. And there's a way I can do it. There's a way I can generate it. I'll look into that in the future. It's really new. Like they just opened up that ability, but you need to upload a whole different link, and then like I don't know, it has to bounce off like a proxy server and then to go to the UK system. It's kind of odd. I don't have to do that for Canada or Australia, so it's weird, but so be it. All right, guys, thank you. I'm just babbling at this point, but you guys and fish keeping kept me sane as I've ever been. It's not that high of a bar. It kept me happy when I just couldn't take it anymore, in pain, laying there all day, feeling useless. The fish don't need you to do anything other than sprinkle some food in their water, and watch them. Um, and that's all I need from you guys. Just watch me, sprinkle some food on me once in a while. All right, guys, take care of each other. Take care of the people around you and your critters. It will come back to you. I'm telling you, the more compassion and energy you put out into the world, the more it will come back. All right, guys, I gotta go. I'll come up with a really boring chlorine video for all you nerds, and probably another sort of countdown video or something like that of some other stuff I'm going to be doing with Aquatic Arts. Because the Aquatic Arts giveaway right now, the Christmas in July, is going. So be kind to each other in the comments, the feeds, make comments, interact, share links, and I have 20 rewards that will be given out other than the big rewards, just because you guys are being awesome, kicking ass, and doing the right thing to one another, answering questions, not being jerks. And maybe you just need help, and you just you're being humble. I think that free shipping would help you out because you're curious about fish, and don't know where to buy them, and say, oh, I'm going to give this a try at Aquatic Arts or whatever. and they donate to charity. They do so much. They buy from local breeders, which is huge. That's the biggest pet peeve I have with all the huge channels is if they have a store or whatever, do they buy from local people at a fair rate? And I'm saying 1/4 to 1/3 of market of what you'll sell it at. And I think if yes, then they need our support. They're doing the right thing as a local fish store. I try to support local fish stores and local breeders all the time. If you have a channel that you're trying to promote or a brand or something, I'm always open to take a look at it, see what it's about, and if it's something good, if it's something I can stand by, of course I'll tell other people on our Facebook group or here or whatnot. So as always, do what you, be real, have fun, live, love, and I'll talk to you later. It's good to be alive a year later. Bye, guys.